Silber. I'm just going to say good morning. Sorry, I had a connection problem here with our internet. And I'm just going to ask, I don't know if Naomi Toft is on, but she asked me, please, to add for Refuah her son, Yaakov Yeshai ben Nomi. I see Janice is not here, but she had a grandson. And I also have Yotza tonight for my father, Avram ben Shmuel HaKohen.
Wow, wow. First of all, Naomi, your refuah shlema to your son.
Thank you. Amen.
Amen, amen. And Yibad L'chaim Tovim. And Joanne, you're a Bas Kohen?
I am.
Oh, that makes all the sense in the world. Now I understand. Just joking. Tola Kavod. And when she gets on, who do you have? A granddaughter, a grandchild? Who was the next one?
Janice Sugarman had a grandson.
Okay, so when she gets on, give me a heads up, and then we'll stop.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to start again also. I also want to thank Anita for being so loyal and getting this up onto YouTube. For those of you who want to see the share it. So we send it out on the YouTube, and she made me, took it off of the feed thing, and she put it on my name. So what is it? It's a funny name. I think Rebbetzen Rochel Silber. I think that's what it's called on YouTube, and you can go and send the class out. So we're going to be doing 2 weeks or 3 weeks of Hanissim, of the special prayer that we say for Chanuka. We'll do it. We're going to do it mamish slowly. It's the long one. You know that Hanissim, in this 2 Hanissim, there's one for Chanuka and one for Purim. The one for Chanuka is longer. The one for Purim is shorter. So we're going to do that using the sefer called the B'nai Yissaschar, who, again, as I said before, is one of the most famous sources of learning about Chanuka, because the Rebbe Reb Tzvi from Dinov, he was told by his Rebbe, the Chosen, that he was actually a descendant of the Chashmonaim, of the base Chashmonai. He was in the Bezdin of the Chashmonaim, so he has a lot on Chanuka, because in a previous life, he was one of the he was one of the stars of the show in Chanuka. So get a siddur if you want to follow along. Al Hanissim is in the benching Birkat HaMazon. It's after the second paragraph of Birkat HaMazon, and it's in the Shemona Esrei after Modim. And we're going to talk about the Chanuka part, not the intro, not the Al Hanissim part, but the Chanuka part. And we're going to do it slowly. It starts out like this. First of all, with what is Al Hanissim? It's a prayer that says, I'm thanking you, Hashem, because it's in the prayer of Modim. And Modim is the prayer of thanks, right? When we say Modim and we bend. So we're saying thank you to Hashem for everything. And in the here comes Jens. In the thankings, we say we thank you, Hashem, for the Nissim, for the miracles that you did, and the salvation, and the power, and the fact that you saved us and our fathers in those days, in this time of the year. So Janice, you're on. Mazel tov on a new granddaughter or son? Grandson. Mazel tov, have a lot of nachas. Did he have the bris yet? Shake your hand. Or bris yet? Yeah? No? Not yet. So you should bring him to the bris on the 8th day in a healthy way. You should have nachas from him. He is your little Hanukkah present, one of your first Hanukkah presents. Okay. So we're saying thank you to Hashem for the miracles. And now there's a context. The beginning of the Al Hanissim, just like the beginning for Purim, it tells us when this is happening. Yimei Matisyahu ben Yochanan Kohen Gadol. This miracle happened in the days of Matisyahu, and he was the son of Yochanan Kohen Gadol, and he was a Chashmonai. That was his family name. So his name was, I guess, Matisyahu Chashmonai, Uvanov, and his sons. That's what we're going to be looking at. This is what happened. It happens in, no, you have to mute yourself, sweetie. It happened in the days of Matisyahu. So listen to this. So the B'nai Yissaschar tells us why do we have to know about Matisyahu, Kohen Gadol, and why do we have to know about Yochanan, Kohen Gadol? So Matisyahu, Chaza, the Bnei Sosna says, if you work out the gematria of Matisyahu, it comes out to 861, exactly the gematria of Beit HaMikdash. So the connection between Matisyahu, who was the Kohen Gadol, and his father was the Kohen Gadol, Matisyahu was the Beit HaMikdash. And we know the story of Chanuka was that the Yavanim, the Greeks were the beginning of the we had 4 exiles. The first exile, Babylon. Second exile, Persia. Parasa Madai, that was the Purim story. Third exile, Greece. Fourth exile, we're still in Rome and the whole Western world. What were these exiles about? So the first exile, Bavel, they wanted to destroy us spiritually. And the second exile of Haman wants to kill us physically. And the third exile, Greece wanted to assimilate us. And the fourth exile wanted to do everything. That's another teaching of the Bnei Sasson. So in the third exile, in the story of Chanuka, what was the whole purpose of the Greeks? Now you're going to see something. When we learn Torah and when we see current events, you must see with a bigger eye. We know that the Chanuka story comes out December, Kislev 25, and the Goyish holiday comes out December 25. Why did the Goyim make their holiday December 25? Because they wanted to try to cancel out Chanuka, which was Kislev 25. I'll say it again. The Goyim, the Christian world, which was the Greeks turned into, on a certain level, their culture segued into and was the basis for Western civilization. And Western civilization, that's Edom, that's Esav, we're learning about them in the parasha now. They wanted to destroy us materially, spiritually, physically. So what did they do? They made their main primary holiday December 25th. Now, why is that? Because everybody here knows that the Christian religion was based on Judaism. They were renegade Jews, and they wanted to, and Hanukkah was such a powerful yontif, they wanted to cancel that out, or they wanted to actually, this is Kabbalistic, they wanted to drink from the power of the light of Hanukkah. They wanted to steal the power of Hanukkah from the Jews. And that's why their whole thing is about lights, right? We know that Hanukkah, we light candles. We light little tiny candles, and we know that little tiny candle pushes away a lot of darkness. But by the Goyim, the way that they celebrate, now I don't know who first made this up, but they celebrate by decorating trees with lights, decorating, everything with their lights. And here in Eretz Yisrael, it's a big joke because the Israelis, they don't know what these Xmas lights are. So they get them cheap from China and they decorate their sukkahs with all of these glittering red and green Xmas lights. I just saw it across the street from me, because here in Israel, they already put up the Hanukkah menorahs. So somebody lit up his whole balcony with all of those Xmas lights, like the little twinkly, yeah. So why did they Dafka, they don't celebrate their Easter with lights, they celebrate their Xmas with lights. Why? Because they're trying to steal our light. What was that all about? Because the Greeks tried to dim our light. Now, the Greeks were not about murdering. They were very lefty. They were very leftist, very liberal. They wanted you to just become, get out of the old-fashioned mode of keeping Torah and get with a new mode of technology and, physical, worshiping the body and all of the stuff that the Greek culture was all about. And that transformed into the Roman exile. It wasn't like Bavel, the first exile, was destroyed by the second exile. And the second, right, because Persia conquered Bavel and destroyed their civilization. Then the third exile, Greece, conquered Persia and destroyed, or tried to destroy, their civilization. And then the Romans, they didn't conquer Greece. Greece became absorbed, they evolved into the Roman Empire. And that's what we're living in today. And so what was the idea of the Greeks? They tried to, we're going to see in the tefillah, they tried to darken our eyes. What does that mean? It doesn't mean about sunglasses. It means they wanted to take away our holy eyes and make us look into unholy things and make us let go of all kedusha. That was what the Greeks tried to do to us. They tried to assimilate us. That is our biggest weakness, when we assimilate. Now, Baruch Hashem, we're in the end of the final exile. We're finishing it all, and we're noticing that now not only do we have to run away from the non-Jewish philosophy, but we're actually able to grab it and transform it into good. And so now we have Jews that go to gyms and they go l'shem shamayim. They don't go for the sake of bodybuilding like the Greeks did to worship the body. They go because they say, I gotta have a healthy body so that I can serve Hashem. I have to have money so that I can give tzedakah. I have to have a beautiful house so I can be makarev. I can bring people into my house and show them a beautiful Shabbos table. So what we're doing now is we're not running away from the goyim. Elamah. What are we doing? We're strong enough now to take every one of those items and attitudes that the goyim had and elevate it and use it for kedusha. Now we're not afraid. We're not afraid to use the internet and use that for kedusha. In the beginning, we ran away from the internet, and a lot of people still do, and kol hakavod to them. But the ones of us we're not, we're using it. We're using it in a holy way. So Matisyahu, his name is Gematria Beis Hamikdash. That means Chanuka is right away reminding us about the Beis Hamikdash. Right away. Next thing, Matisyahu, interestingly enough, means you can break up his name into two words. The first is matat, which means a gift. Now, for those of you who think it means the angel, that's written with a tet. So just letting you know, for those of you who ever heard that word. But the word, the first two letters of Matisyahu, the first three letters, mem, tav, and tav, is the matana, means a gift, a present, which is one of the reasons why we give gifts on Hanukkah, because Matisyahu, his name means a gift from God. That's what his name means. So we give children gifts because we want them to like Hanukkah. Of course, also we have to give children gifts to balance out the economic, what's going on by the goyim in their holiday. And everybody knows the joke that, the goyim, the really religious goyim who really religious goyim, they don't like the fact that, Xmas became like a whole gift-giving season. And they said that's all commercial and it's all fake. And it is. And, the joke is that who knows, the shopkeepers and the toy makers, they were the ones who made that minhag to give toys that the goyim do on their Xmas. And so I think that it's true that we have a tradition to give Hanukkah gifts on the fifth night of Hanukkah, but whatever. We have to keep our kids happy also. Matisyahu is a matana from Hashem. That's what his name means. But interestingly enough, the name, the end of his name, Yud Hey and Vav. Okay, Matisyahu. When I'm going to tell you two things that when email first came out. So when email first came out, right? I remember the first account I had was an account. We didn't have internet. We just had a computer with email, and we used an account called Juno, Juno. Anybody ever remember Juno? That was for I don't know how many years ago that was, 50, 30 years ago. Anyway, I remember thinking, that's a funny name. The Jews know everything. I wonder what they made the name Juno. What was my first thought was when my son said, okay, Ima, our email is such and such a Juno. I said, Juno? And then he showed me how you spell it, Juno. But I said, that's a message from God saying the Jews know. Okay. The second time, then we upgraded our email accounts to Yahoo. I said, you're not going to say that word? That's one of Hashem's names. Because it is Yud and Hey and Vav, which is the end of the name Matisyahu, We can say it in a name, but we're not supposed to say that name. It's a name of God. Yud Hey Vav. Of course, the full name is Yud Hey Vav K. Yud Hey Vav, and then the final Hey. But the name Yud and Hey and Vav is also a name of God. That's why Matisyahu's name was a gift of God. And listen to this. The Yud and the Hey and the Vav are the idea of, we're missing a Hey still, right at the end. The Yud, so the Bnei Yisrael said, when we finished the first exile of Bavel, we elevated the Yud. We made Hashem's name Yud prominent in the world. Now Yud is available because we finished Bavel. When we finished the exile of Paras and Mada and Paras, right, the Purim story, then Hashem's letter Hey became manifest in the world. And when we finished the story of Chanuka, which is now Matisyahu, when we finished the story of Chanuka, then the Vav became visible in the universe. And now we're waiting for the Hey to finally be visible.
Rebbetzen Silber, I just sent you a little video clip. I don't know if did you see it?
I was going to say it now. All of you were, Rebbetzen was going to send you the video clip, and if anyone wants me to send it. So somebody sent me just 2 days ago or 3 days ago. I have to go now and check it out. I usually am not on that end of the woods, right? So somebody showed that there a Stardy from America, a Stardy Rav from America, is he from, I think probably from Great Neck or from LA, was here on a trip to go to Har HaZeisim, the Mount of Olives, and they're trying to restore the Kfarim, the tombstones, which were destroyed by the Arabs from 1948 until 1967. Jordan, that area was given over to Jordan, and they came and they smashed our tombstones. What's the big deal? You can't let dead people, rest in peace. Like, what do you have to smash tombstones for? Why do the Arabs have to be so violent that they had to smash tombstones? Like, what is wrong with you? Why you have to be like animals like that? Why you have to do that? Whatever it was, that's what they did. And many of the tombstones were restored, but many of them, they don't know the writing on the tombstone was broken, so you don't know who's buried there. But there are people who have traditions that they know where their grandparents or their great-grandparents were buried on Har HaZeisim, and they try to restore it. So this rabbi is he's showing his community that he's going to the area where where that section was buried, Sfardim, I think he's Persian, and he looks at he's looking at the old city. Now you all know that when we look at the old city walls, the walls of the old city, right? When you look at the walls of the old city, where do you look? So we always enter the old city by Shah Yafo. Some people enter by Shah Shem, but not anymore so much because it's a lot of we don't want to bother the soldiers and make it so hard for them. They're guarding it, and whenever Jews enter there, so I've gone through Shah Shem dozens of times, but now I think maybe I would think twice on it, except when it's a Yantif and they whatever. So we go through Shah Yafo and we see the western side of the walls, the outside walls of the old city. See, like the northwestern side. The other side is the southeastern side, unless you take the bus. Now, most people don't take the bus that goes all the way around the walls of the old city, but sometimes you take that bus. But the bus is too close to be able to see what this man showed. He's looking at the old city walls, and he sees that stuff grows out of the wall. Plants and grass and foliage. Foliage. How? Yeah. Grows out of the kotzel. We have it on the side of the kotzel that we daven on. And why is that? That's because there's that when we our kotzel, when we daven, the Har HaBayit, they tiled it, they made the flooring much higher than when we are. So underneath the tiling of the Har HaBayit, that's why you have to go up the ramp to go to the Har HaBayit, because the place that's tiled is 7/8 above our kotel, or maybe 3/4 above high of our kotel, and underneath that is all dirt. So out of the dirt grows all kinds of things that are growing, and it pops through the old city, it pops through the kotel. So on the other side of the old city walls, you could see with your own eyes that there's a yud growing out, there's foliage growing out in the shape of a yud, very clear, and a Hey, very clear, and a Vav, very clear. Now, I saw all the way to the left, I saw a lot of rough foliage. When you see the video, you'll see what I'm talking about. And I thought that was the hay, and it just needs like a little bit of, I don't know, pruning to get the hay there. But he said, no, he said, we have the 3 points. There's like, you know how a hay goes, right? A hay is a Dalet and a Yud. So he's showing where it's starting to grow there, the hay, in the same equidistant as the Yud and the hay and the Vav that's there. So that's it. Like Hashem's name, Hashem grew his name in foliage, in grass, and in leaves coming out of the walls of the old city. Now, of course, as soon as they're going to hear this, they're going to start shaving that off. So I'm glad that we have a video of it now, because they get very nervous. When the Kotel started crying about 20 years ago, when there was dripping, when the Kotel was crying, right? And the Goyim found out that we got very, very emotional about that. They ran, they did all kinds of things. They stopped all the plumbing on the other side of the wall, and because they didn't want us to be inspired. But the name Yud and Hey and Vav means it's one of God's names, and it means that we finished 3 out of the 4 exiles, and now the 4th exile is finishing. That's Matityahu's name. So Matityahu means a gift of the name Yud and Hey and Vav, which we already finished, and now we're finished. We're getting ready for the final Hey. That's why it says Bimei Matityahu. That's what the Rebbe says here. Ben Yochanan Kohen Gadol. Why do we have to know about Yochanan Kohen Gadol? So listen to this. Yochanan means God will have mercy. Just like Matityahu is and the presence of God, the gift of God. That's why it's so important to name your children beautiful names, because you see the names have such an effect. Yochanan Yud Vav is the giving aspect of Hashem's name, because Yud and a Hey and a Vav and a Hey, there's 2 letters, Yud and Vav, are the giving aspects. The 2 Heys are the receiving aspects, so to speak. So Yochanan means God is giving you Chanun v'Rachum, he's giving you compassion. Chen and Chanun means charm and compassion. So Hashem is beaming on us compassion. That's what, so Matityahu ben Yochanan is such a good name. Now listen to this. He says that we know the story about that the Pach Shemen, right? They found the oil with the stamp of the Kohen Gadol. So the Bnei Yissaschar says like this: the Kohen Gadol never ever put his stamp on any oil. It wasn't his job to do that. His job was to do all the Kohen Gadol work. There's a lot of work for a Kohen Gadol to do. They had hechsherim in those days, like you have the badats, or you have, I don't know what you have in UK, you know, whatever hechsher you have, that was not, the chief rabbi doesn't go to the, doesn't put his name on it. He has workers, supervisors, rabbanim, dayanim, that supervise. So what is this? So he said there was the nace was that the Matityahu Kohen Gadol put his stamp on a piece of, on some oil. Why did he do that on a pacham oil? Why did he do that? There was one that he did. Could you imagine? It's like when Miriam, here we have Miriam Zilmseir, her husband should be well. So Miriam, in the time of the Chumash, what did she do? She said to the ladies, everybody take out some musical instruments, take out your tov, take out your tambourine. Why? Because we're going to have a miracle. So it didn't say, you know, she didn't have like thousands of musical instruments. She said, everybody take one, take your thing, take one. So, and everyone used it. They used their one. So what did Matityahu Kohen Gadol do? He put his, according to the Bnei Yissaschar, he put his stamp on one pach shemen, on one jug of oil, with the hope that that one jug of oil would be the source of a miracle. Just like Miriam said, take out a tambourine with the hope, actually with the knowledge that a miracle would happen. And that's why he put his name on it, because he wanted everyone to recognize the name Yud and Hey and Vav, and to have koach from that this is a gift from God. Okay, I'm laughing because the B'nai Yisachar, he's so cute. It's ridiculous for me to say those words, but he says, Haven, pay attention to this idea. Ki nechmad v'na'im, it's a very, very sweet, beautiful idea. That all the things that we just learned, this is the last word he says on them. Pay attention, because these are beautiful thoughts. That Hashem is trying to, at all times, encourage us. And you don't have to make so much hishtadlus. What did Matzisiyahu Kohen Gadol do? He made one pach. He didn't like make a whole, a whole like manufacturing plant, a whole run. That's how they say it. Like he just made one stamp, and he said, "This is enough. If Hashem's going to make an ace, he can make an ace on this one shemen." Just like when they say, if you want to buy a lottery ticket, only buy one, because if Hashem's going to give you, you only need one, and if Hashem's not going to give you, why should you waste your money? Okay. Now we know that the problem of Hanukkah, the challenge of Hanukkah was very subtle. It was very subtle. Because the Jews were so stubborn in the time of Hanukkah to hold on to every last little minhag and not to budge and to be mamish am kshe oref, stubborn, because they were so strong. That's why for us, this nisayon is not so powerful. Why? Because what was the idea of the Greeks in Hanukkah? The whole idea was, I want the Jews to use their brilliant minds to think about other things other than Torah. Let's let them learn science. Okay, now that we passed through and we succeeded with the nisayon of Hanukkah, now we could learn science in a holy way. But in those days, they wanted us to learn science so that we would cancel out chas v'shalom, Torah, so that we would leave Torah, chas v'shalom, so that we would be so impressed with science, that we would be enamored of science, and then we would not even chas v'shalom look at the Torah anymore. And that until recently. I mean, you still have certain people who are like that, who are very, very egotistical, arrogant scientists, and who say they know everything and nothing else, no other knowledge is worthwhile. But most scientists nowadays, because there's so much available knowledge, they see that the whole universe is so complex. Now you have doctors who are like specializing in the thumb, a doctor specializing in the right ear. Why? Because in olden days, you used to have a general practitioner. That's in America, that's how they called it. In Hebrew, in Israel, they call it Rofeh Mishpacha, a general doctor who knows a little bit of everything. And so, but now that's how it used to be, and they still have it. But really, people, the general doctor now, the Rofeh Mishpacha, or the general practitioner, really if it's something that's simple, like a strep throat or like whatever, he'll give you antibiotics and it's easy. But if there's something more complicated, he's going to send you to a specialist. And what's a specialist? A specialist knows every single cell in the brain, in the kidney, in the heart, every single blood vessel. They know that one organ, they know it completely. And anyone who knows anything about the body knows that the complexity of the body is staggering. Staggering is like the silliest word I could think of. The complexity of the body is beyond understanding. So all scientists now have to be believers in the creator, in the coordinator, because nothing else can happen on its own. But the Greeks in those days, they didn't have so much information, but they were beginning with scientific process. And so they were enamored of themselves, figuring out gravity and figuring out astronomy and mathematics. It's just the beginnings of it. And they wanted to make the Jews who have a mind fall in love with something called chokhmah chitzoni, external wisdoms. Now again, nowadays, because we pass through all of this, we can learn all of those sciences, and we can stay religious, but it will enhance your Yiddishkeit. Every time I learn anything new about science, whenever there's a new discovery that's actual, that's real, and not somebody's made up, whatever. Just more and more praising Hashem, like more and more praising Hashem. But in those days, it was a big test. It was a big challenge because learning external or secular subjects went hand in hand with letting go of Torah and mitzvot. And that was the darkness that the Greeks tried to do, and that whole culture on the Jewish people. And since Jews are by nature a people who we use our minds, so we were attracted to the sciences. And because we hadn't had yet the self-sacrifice, so people assimilated because they thought it was a contradiction between science and God. They thought it was a contradiction between science and Torah. And now we know that science enhances our understanding of Torah. The Vilna Gaon said that, not me. And the Torah enhances our understanding of science. The Vilna Gaon said that, not me. And so when in something called strings theory in physics, when they talk about different like levels of existence, they talk about the following numbers: 4 levels of existence develops into 10 levels of existence and develops into 26 levels of existence. And then all you need to do is have one Shomer Shabbos or one Orthodox person in that audience who says, oh, the 4 is representing the 4 letters of God's name. The 10 is representing the 10 Sfirot. And the 26 is representing the gematria, the numerical value of God's name. And all of those numbers are part of the world of physics now, 4, 10, and 26. And an Orthodox Jew says, yeah, I'll explain to you the deeper spiritual message over there. And physicists are shocked by that because they see our documents, our Gemaras from thousands of years ago that are talking about those numbers, 4, 10, 26. Okay, so the reason that today we can learn is because the stubbornness of our ancestors, who in those days when they learned science, the science conflicted the science that they thought was real, which by the way wasn't real anyway, it was just the beginnings, but the science that they thought was real conflicted with what they thought God said, and then they had to make a choice. Now we don't have to do that. Okay, so now we did Matisyahu Kohen Gadol. It hasn't been Yochanan Kohen Gadol, right? Okay, now I'm looking to see where my sefer is. Here. Kisha'amda Malchus Yavan Harasha'a al Amcha Yisrael. When the kingdom of the evil Yavan, the evil Greek kingdom, stood over the Jewish people. Kisha'amda Malchut Yavan. If you look at the parallel, because if you're looking in your siddur, so you look next door to Al Hanissim for Purim, for Chanuka, you see the Al Hanissim for Purim. Same words. Kisha'amad Aleihem Haman Harasha. So when stood above us, that means when tried to dominate us, when the evil Yavanim tried to dominate us, that's the nusach, that's the phraseology, the terminology of the Al Hanissim. So if you look at the word Yavan, I'll spell it for you. There's a Yud, little tiny Yud, then a longer Yud called a Vav, then a longer Vav called a Nun, the final Nun. Look at how Yavan is spelled. It's 3 lines, a small Yud, a small, a larger, and a larger, right? Yavan. So That's an interesting word. And we know, by the way, that Yavan is mentioned in Bereshis. We know he's one of the descendants of Yefet. And so Yavan has so much potential. Why? Because it's 3 straight lines. Generally, a straight line means to go yashar, to go straight, right? Like all the other letters twirl around and twist around, but the letter Yud, pashut, simple. The letter Vav, pashut, simple. The letter final Nun, pashut, simple. Yud and Vav are in God's name. The final Nun is one of the letters of Mashiach. So when we learn the Aleph Beis, you'll see what I mean by that. So the Yavan had so much potential. What was the problem? The problem was ego, that main Yetzer Hara that's been plaguing humanity since the very, very beginning in the Garden of Eden. What's the ego of Yavan? Okay, let's look at another word that has Yavan at the end of it, Yud Vav Nun, but something else in the beginning. Put another letter in front of Yavan, and you get a beautiful word called Sion. Look, Yud Vav Nun, then put a tzaddik in front of it. What do you get? You get Sion. What's Sion? What is that? You know what's Sion? Sion means the Beis Hamikdash. Sion means Yerushalayim HaKodesh, depending on the context. Sion means Israel, depending on the context, depending on where you're writing, what else is written in the puzzle. So look at this. This is so important for us. Sion, which means a connection to God, is Yavan, Yud Vav Nun, with a tzaddik in front of it. With a tzaddik in front of it. So what does that mean for us? It means that all of us need to be attached to tzaddikim. It's a very big teaching of Chassidus. The truth is not.
Shulamit, can you mute?
It's not just in Chassidus, it's in everything. Vayaminu b'Hashem u'v'Moshe avdo. We say it every single day. You have to believe that Hashem is sending into this world in every generation. This is a very, very important. How do you know that we're not allowed to have the shir on Shabbos, right? How do we know that we're not allowed to use internet on Shabbos? How do we know? Because we have poskim, we have Rabbanim. As soon as the devices, computers, phones, iPads, internet, as soon as that became a new thing in the world, they had to bring it, they had to explain, they had to learn what it was. The tzaddikim had to learn, the poskim had to learn what it was, and decide, make a halach decision of what is this? Are we permitted to use it on Shabbos, Yantif, etc.? So without our Rabbanim, we can't survive. The idea that Torah is dynamic. What does that mean? They talk about it a lot because people accuse us of being old-fashioned and living in the Stone Ages, our halachas. But really, it's the exact opposite. Every time any new idea, hashkafa, invention, or a medical procedure, or anything like that is introduced into the planet, into the world, the first thing that our poskim, our Jewish rule deciders have to do is study it, top to bottom. They have to know it. They have to know it clearly, and then they have to rule. This is permitted. This is not permitted. Right? I remember when in vitro. I told you this once. In vitro fertilization first came into the world, and I was still living in America, and I went to visit in Eretz Israel, and one of my friends has Baruch Hashem 2 kids that way, but she didn't have kids then. And she needed to know if it's permitted. And so she had to go to her rabbis. But I remember visiting Rabbanit Finkel from the Mir in Mei Sharim and talking to her about it. And she was saying how, of course, it's with pikuach, like with supervision, it's the greatest thing, and it's going to bring so many new Jews into the world. And yes, it's kosher. And you have to do it right. You have to do it right, not like what happened here in Asuto Hospital. I think there was an Asuto in right, that that they mixed up the donors. They don't know who, this woman, Nebuch, she had a baby, not Nebuch, Baruch Hashem, she has a baby girl. But they implanted into her somebody else's fertilized egg. And they don't know whose they did. So she's carrying, she's a mother to a baby. And that little girl, when that girl wants to get married, she's going to have to do a DNA test with whoever guy she goes out with, because they don't know who the biological parents are of that baby. The halachic parents is the biological parents is the one who gave birth to her, but the halachic parents is also the people who, provided that fertilized egg. Anyway. We're not backwards and we're not living in the Stone Age. We're living in a very highly developed society where every single thing is measured on a yardstick of what Hashem gave Moshe Rabbeinu 3,300 years ago. So, but the Malchus Yavan Harashah, they couldn't hear that. And the Jews in those days didn't have this information. It was hard for them. It was so hard. Now we look at Mityavnim, the ones who assimilated, we said, like, how could you do that? How could you have done that? There was a Beis HaMikdash. You had a Beis HaMikdash. How in the world are you sacrificing pigs in the Beis HaMikdash? Like, what, are you crazy? Okay, it was the second Beis HaMikdash. The presence of the Shekhinah wasn't so strong there. But it was a big nisayah for them. And how do we get over that? Tzaddik Tzion. Tzaddik Yud Vav Nun. We have to hold on to the tzaddik Yud Vav Nun. And by the way, always, Chanuka time, we always read the story of Yosef HaTzadik in Chumash, because that's the Parshas HaShavua. And it happens to be that the gematria of Yosef and the gematria of Tzion is the same. It's 156, the same gematria. Because Yosef was the tzaddik who allowed us, who helped us, who enabled us to be able to overcome Yavan. Now, what does that mean? He wasn't alive then, but the idea that the Mesiras Nefesh, that the power of resistance, spiritual resistance, that the Jews had, the ones who stayed loyal, the spiritual resistance of the ones who stayed loyal came from the spiritual resistance of Yosef HaTzadik, when he had to overcome also what was going on in Paro's palace, which was also very, very attracting. It was Moshech. It drew you in. And every single one of us, ladies, every one of us has to deal with this in our life. We have to reaffirm our connection to Hashem, Torah, and mitzvahs. We have to reaffirm every Chanuka. We have to remember, we have to strengthen ourselves in connection to tzaddikim. Find your tzaddik. That's what we're really very high anticipation levels, because Mashiach is Mashiach Tzidkenu. We're really waiting for Mashiach. I say this all the time. You have certain Chassidus that have their tzaddik, right? The Lubavitchers have the Lubavitch Rebbe, and the Solonians have the Solonian Rebbe, Baruch Chaim Tovim. Every Chassidus has their Rebbe, has their tzaddik. Then you have everybody else who loves Rebbes and but is waiting for the real tzaddik. They're not an exclusive card-carrying member of any part of Judaism. Rather, they belong to everybody. You're a Chassidus, you're a Litvak, you're a Sephardi, you're Ashkenazi, you're Israeli, right? You're a little bit of everything. Why is that? No, in old days it wasn't like that at all. But why is that? Because we're all really waiting for Mashiach Tzidkenu. So we have all the little minor tzaddikim that are keeping us alive till Mashiach comes. But then really Mashiach is a tzaddik. That's why Mashiach Tzidkenu, that's Yosef HaTzadik, is Mashiach ben Yosef, the first one to come. Okay, don't let anybody darken your eyes, meaning no one's allowed to have negativity. Now, another thing that we have to talk about, really probably more in this generation, more than leaving Yiddishkeit, is being sad and being negative and being pessimistic and being looking down on yourself. It's a big plague in this generation, especially in the Jewish world. I used to think it's just by the women, but I see it's by the men also. You have to battle so strongly against negative, sad thoughts that make you feel like you're not worthy and you're not good enough. The Rochel Silber used to say to me in the Shema Kolenu prayer, we say, Ki ata shomea tfilas kol peh. I think by the Ashkenazim we say Ki ata shomea tfilah, right? But by the Sfardim and by the Nusach Sfard, by everybody else it says Ki ata shomea tfilas kol peh. That means Hashem, you listen to the prayer of everybody's mouth. So he said that you could read it also, tfilas kol feh. What does it mean, feh? When a Jew says feh, this is a Yiddish expression. It means ich, yucky, low, negative, right? Unsuccessful, low man on the totem pole. Any way you want to say it. There's no way to explain feh. Feh means ich. It means yuck. So Moshe said, Hashem listens to the prayer of everybody, even if you think that you're a nothing. Tfilas kol peh, even if a person thinks that they're a feh, that they're nothing, that they're rejected, that they're unworthy. Hashem is listening to you. So listen, if Hashem is listening to you, that's a pretty big thing. It says in the Gemara that Hashem, is very, so to speak, busy running the universe. But anytime a Jew opens her mouth, anytime a Jew opens his mouth in tefillah, in bakasha, to make a bracha, to praise Hashem, to thank Hashem, to ask Hashem, Hashem stops the whole universe, so to speak, of course, not literally, and listens to that person. And brings all the angels, the whole Pamaya Shalmala, the whole heavenly host, and says, oh, look at her, she just made a bracha. She's 12 years old in one day. She's a bat mitzvah. And the bracha she made was very perfunctory, very quick. And Hashem says, Hashem takes the whole Pamaya Shalmala, all the angels and all the, look at that, my daughter, my little daughter over there. It was just bat mitzvah, she just made a bracha. I know it's crazy to think about that, but that is a very, very important meditation. Whenever you feel unworthy, whenever you feel insecure, whenever you feel that you're not good enough, whenever you feel less than, even if you feel that way for good reasons, maybe you're not, chas v'shalom, you did something wrong. Nobody does anything wrong, but let's say you never allow, you have to right away correct it and let go of it. Let's say you have, what you consider a bad mazel. I know one of my students, she passed away. She died a young girl because she believed that she had a bad mazel. Why? Because people kept telling her she had a bad mazel. And her family had a bad name and nobody wanted to marry them. And she got herself so sick and she passed because she believed that she had negativity. So that's not right. Okay, so the time of a person's passing is not anyway in our hands, but why live with that attitude? Don't let any Greeks darken your eyes. Don't let anybody in the world make you feel less than. Whatever stuff you're going through, the Chanuka says this, he says this over and over and over and again. There's plenty of things to be upset about. There's plenty of things that people have hard. Don't let anything break you. Don't let anything pull you down. Always say positive, verbalize, use words, say out loud, everything's okay. Hashem loves me. I'm happy. I'm healthy. I'm well. I'm better than I was. Things could be worse. Whatever expressions that you could use to keep yourself in a positive mindset, even if it's just saying, listen, this is really hard, Hashem. I don't understand it and I don't like it, but it's from you and I have to accept it. And I'll daven as much as I can. But when I can't help, I can't help. And ultimately, I'll see what this is all about. Nobody's allowed to take you and make you a yavan. You have to be tzion. Tzaddik Yud Vav Nun, not just Yud Vav Nun. Yud Vav Nun went wrong. And they went and they looked at the world and they said, what you see is what you get. Tzaddik Yud Vav Nun. Hold on to the words of the tzaddikim. Tzion, Yosef HaTzaddik, Eretz Yisrael, Yerushalayim Yer HaKodesh, Beis HaMikdash, Kodesh HaKadoshim. And in the tefillah it says, Al Amcha Yisrael, Hashem, we are your nation. We are yours. Don't let anybody, here we are. The thing is like this, it's just so ironic that everybody, and we know this in every generation, we say it's Pesach and every generation is trying to kill us. They're all dead. Here we are, surviving and thriving. That's why when the state of Israel was formed, the Vatican went crazy. Because according to their ideology, we're never supposed to come back to the land of Israel. And they thought, okay, they'll try to kill us. They're not so great over there. And they tried to destroy the state of Israel in different ways. And it's a thorn in their side hashkafically that we're thriving. Because according to their, so they had to change their hashkafa, they had to change a lot of their dogma. Because what we are in our existence is a contradiction to what they believe in. Our existence, every Jew that comes to the land of Israel to visit or to live, every Jew that walks the streets here proud and happy and strong is a thorn in their hashkafas, because we're not supposed to be here again. Hashem says, you're my people. You're my people, I'm yours. Hashem adores us and loves us. He's crying. It says that Hashem cries because he had to put us through this exile. Hashem cries because he knows why he had to put us through it. He knows why we have to go through what we're going through. And he's crying for us, but he's not letting us go. He says, I'm going to get you through it. You're going to be okay. And that's Chanuka. Here we are, Chanuka again. Let me say hi to everybody. Hi, Pauline, and hi, Ginny, and hi, Marcel, and hi, Rebbetzen, and hi, Yehuda Bati. Don't go off the screen. Don't. Hi, Mrs. Gerald, and hi, Miriam again, and hi, Karen. No, don't go off the screens. And hi, Nomi again, and oh, Shulamit. Hi, Shulamit. And hi, Golda, and hi, Nomi again, for Shlema for your son, and hi, Zippy, and hi, Devorah Danziger, and hi Sharon Brand, and hi MK. Oh, there's Sharon, and hi MK, and hi Janice Mazatov again, and Rachel Gross, and hi Dor Hinda. Oh, you got you twice on my screen. Good, it's okay. You can come as many times as you want. And whoever's on the phone, yay! Hi to you. And
I don't know if you saw Karen. Did you see Karen? I didn't hear.
Karen, 1 second. I'm only on my thing here.
Oh, okay.
I have 2 phone numbers in the UK. I don't know who they are. Hi to them. And Yal Shasha couldn't connect. She couldn't connect. 1 second. I'm getting a new computer. It can come in a couple of months, I hope. I have to go get one from America. Where's Karen? I don't see her.
Where's Karen Lamb?
1 second.
There she is. She's in her kitchen.
I don't. 1 second. 1 second.
Keep waving, Karen. Yeah.
Karen, yeah, I had you on my front screen. I didn't say hello. Hi, Karen. Okay, everybody.
Thank you very, very much.
Who's on the screen called Gerald? What's the tzaddik is his name?
That's Mrs. Kaplan, all the way from South Africa. That's Ramona's mummy.
Mrs. Kaplan. Where's Ramona? Where is she?
I don't know. We're going to have to find out.
Find out. We're taking attendance.
And there's, did you see Juliet? You saw Juliet, yeah.
I saw, I called her Golden.
Okay, good. Okay. Yeah. Lovely to have everybody with us. Sharon hasn't been feeling so well this week, so we wish her a refuah shalema.
Thank you.
Sharon, feel better, Bezrat Hashem.
Thank you so much. You saw Miriam, yeah. Good Shabbos and Emetz Hashem. We should all join very, very soon in Yerushalayim.
Amen. Good Shabbos. Good Shabbos.
Good Shabbos.